infants, and families died together. Some 70 bodies showed signs the cyanide was administered by needle, though no one knew for certain if the 70 were murdered.
There's some of them that died after others had little blankets thrown over them to cover them, and they all seemed to arrange themselves comfortably. Jim Jones's wife was lying on a blanket right next to him, the steps, and she's very peacefully lying with her hand outstretched. Some of them who had girlfriends were lying with their girlfriends, their arms around each other and that sort of thing.
The bodies are brought back to the United States. First that of Congressman Leo Ryan, the maverick Democrat from California who didn't believe those State Department reports that Jonestown's residents were happy and content. Ryan's family grieves its loss, and the nation begins to take a new look at the religious cults of the 70s. Religion, a powerful force with potential for good or evil, whether at home or abroad. And nowhere is the power of religion more apparent than in Iran, where the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini takes over from the deposed and much hated Shah.
Iranian people are united and they believe, and all of them are behind Khomeini's leadership. And as an Iranian, I would say Khomeini is my leader and I believe in his leadership.
The Shah's great political mistake was pushing a backward people into the confusion of the future without understanding their need to cling to old ways and traditions. Muslim women voluntarily don the traditional chador. The men, the women, and the children unite behind Allah and the Ayatollah.
Ayatollah Khomeini is the symbol of honesty, virtueness, and humanity.
Islamic law, says the Ayatollah, is to be the law of the land.
Ayatollah Khomeini, he's the greatest man that I have ever known. And I follow him because he just wants Iran for Iranian people.
And when the Ayatollah denounces the U.S., the mobs demonstrate to emphasize their agreement. The U.S. is linked inextricably with the Shah. The American eagle is portrayed as a cross between Uncle Sam and Sesame Street's Big Bird. Then, on November 4th, 1979, Iranian students seize the American embassy and 63 hostages. The looted files, they say, show how the CIA controlled and interfered in Iranian affairs. In Iran, the revolution seems out of control. And in the U.S., mobs react with equal irrationality against Iranians living in America. World attention is focused on the Arab countries. Religion and nationalism seem hopelessly intertwined. And then, in one Islamic country on the southern borders of Russia, a pro-Soviet regime is unable to control Muslim guerrillas. Russia moves in. Trucks and tanks and planes. Some 50,000 Russian soldiers swarm across the border. And in a matter of days, it seems Afghanistan is to be the newest Soviet satellite. The rebels, certain of Allah's support, take to the hills and begin to arm themselves with primitive weapons. Their long-held hatred of Russia mobilizing even the very young, forging a new resolve.
This action on the Soviets has made a more dramatic change, in my own opinion, of what the Soviets' ultimate goals are than anything they've done in the previous time I've been in office.
One ray of light in the otherwise troubled Middle East came in November 1977, when Anwar Sadat takes that historic 40-minute jet flight to Jerusalem. His visit, the first by an Arab leader since Israel's founding, gives birth to hope. Maybe the 30 years of war between Israel and its Arab neighbors can come to an end.
Let us
raise the slogan, no war and security.
We are mortals, and when we depart, our nations will live forever. And we are going to do our utmost to make sure that our nations will live forever in peace.
Both Sadat and Prime Minister Begin have trouble with the people back home. President Carter takes many chances with his own political future in getting them back together again and again. But finally, in March 1979, a year and a half after that first Sadat visit to Jerusalem, the terms are agreed and the peace treaty is signed. As President Carter and the television world look on and rejoice. One small step for mankind in the Middle East, a hope for the future. The years roll by, and man keeps searching through years of war and pain, years of exploitation and greed, years of dirty tricks and cover-ups. But here and there, a cause for hope. The end, finally, of a war in Asia. A peace treaty in the Middle East. New governments form as old ones fall, and man keeps searching. If the 70s were the me generation, maybe man can learn from the mistakes of that decade. The future? Maybe the we generation. If that time comes, when men and women everywhere begin to understand their need to help and to be helped by others.